Hello, guys. Welcome to the channel, Dr. Dexter. And today we are back with another interview with a topper. And today we have Dr. Taha, who has scored a remarkable score of 250s in the recently conducted FMG 2025. So, Dr. Taha, please introduce yourself to the viewers.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Rohit. So my name is Dr. Taha Murtaza Kagalwala. Actually, I am from Mumbai, India. I went to Russia to the Crimean Federal University in 2018 to complete MBBS. I recently gave my FMG exam and I scored, I think, pretty well. Thank you.
Well, Dr. Taha, so today we will be talking about the strategies he followed, the tips and tricks he will, tell us to how to clear the exam and how to prepare for the exam. So, very first question, Dr. Taha, when the
Okay.
result was announced, how did it feel? And was it obvious that you will get this much score, or were you surprised by this?
I actually I was very surprised. It depends on when do I think, like what do I expect. For example, if you asked me what my score would be back when we were in college, everybody was very sure that I would score 250 plus, but except me. I thought that it was definitely going to be more than 200, but 250 I never thought it would go that high. Then when you come towards the exam, also when I wrote the exam and when I came outside of the exam hall, I thought that the exam went very well. I thought I would at least score more than 240. But then, as it happens with all the students, they talk to their classmates and then they watch the videos about when cerebellum and other all the different classes when they check your answers. So when I talked to my friends and when I saw those videos, my expectations slowly got less and less because all the tricky questions which I was confused about were going wrong. But then eventually, when the result came out, I was very shocked that I scored 253. I never thought. In fact, I checked my marks 4 to 5 times. I asked my parents to check my marks once, but I scored 253. I was very shocked, but also very happy at the very same time.
So I'm going to tell my viewers that Dr. Taha, like he was the kind of student who was like we were very sure that this guy is gonna score like 250 plus. Yes, it was obvious that because he was so good throughout the MBBS course. I still remember that we have an exam. We had an exam, histology exam, and like at that time, this was one of the most hardest exam. And the teacher, the most strictest teacher of that subject, she just asked him to, go because you are passed without any answering, without any question. She just asked you that you are passed. I just heard this from the students. Was it correct?
Yeah. So actually, for the people that does not know about this, in our college there is a system called free pass. So during the class test, if you score consistently well, they allow you to just pass the exam with an excellent grade without actually giving the exam. So during the histology classes, I think my average was pretty good. So I did not have to give the exam, but I did not know it beforehand. I studied for the exam, as best I could. Then during the exam hall, our teacher, Miss Svetlana Kharchenko, she came to me and she said that okay, you do not have to give the exam. In fact, out of all the 5 questions, you just choose one question, whichever you are most comfortable answering, and go and answer that, and you get full marks without giving the exam. So I was elated. I was like, nobody has ever gotten this. I was very happy. It was very unexpected. If she told me before, I would not have to study so much for so many nights before the exam.
But those nights have paid today, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So now let's come to the study part, right? The strategy part.
Okay,
So
okay.
since such a good score, 253, such a huge score. So the first question, what was your resource or what were your resources for the preparation?
Okay, so I didn't have like one resource or one classes or one author's book. So it was a mixture of a lot of things. So I did not really take any subscription to any classes, but eventually, after the third year, as the clinical subjects kept on coming in our university, I chose whatever source was available to me at that time. For example, uh, I remember that in the third year, when we were in the second or the third year, the coronavirus came for the first time, and when it came as an outbreak, people got very confused and like very scared, and people started to eventually leave the university and go back home for their own safety, which is completely explainable. But I did not go home. In fact, there was very few people left in our university. I was one of them, and I had a lot of free time on my hands because most of my friends and most of my group mates had gone to India. So at that time, I started my preparation for the FMGE. I think I started with ENT. I had some videos of Prep Ladder's old ENT professor. I think some of you might remember he was a Sardarji. He taught very well. So that is where I began. I began from my Prep Ladder ENT, and then later on I went to Dr. Gobind Rai Garg for pharmacology. So I did not really have a plan at that time. I just went with the flow. Whatever I thought was easy, whatever I thought was interesting to me, I started with those subjects and eventually made a plan as time went. So for my sources, I think Prep Ladder was definitely one of them. I read the Marrow's notes. I Yes, and MCQ practice, definitely MCQ practice. For MCQ practice, there is an app which I think not a lot of people know about. The app is called PrePG. I think that has been one of my greatest resource in my FMG journey. I haven't used any other resource as much as I have used that app. It is an app where you practice questions and MCQs. There are daily tests and grand tests. There are lots of things. I think for the last 2 years, I have been attempting tests and practicing MCQs on that app every single day. So I think these three are my main resources. I Prep Ladder, Arrow, as well as PrePG. Yeah, these three are my main resources.
So you started your preparation from, I think, the second year, because at the second year the COVID
Yes, at
came,
the
right?
end of the second year, right?
Yeah. So early start gave you that
Yes, yes.
confidence and that stability, right, to revise in the last time, right?
I mean, at
Okay.
the end of the second
So
year, when I began my preparation, it wasn't so much for the FMGA, but it was just because I had a lot of time and eventually I had to study it. So I said, okay, let's start. I did not need to have a lot of space. I did not have to study 8-12 hours a day, but slowly building a habit was important. So I started to build a habit of studying from the end of the second year.
well, that's a very great message for the upcoming FMG aspirants, because me myself have heard from the seniors that last 1 year or last 6 months are enough to pass the exam. But as you know that the pattern of exam is changing every year, and this year
Exactly.
also, like you said that they were very tricky questions, right? So I
Yes,
think
yes,
starting early is the very best option. As you already said that this will, decrease the burden on you. Like you don't have to
yes,
study 8 to 12 hours a day. You can just
yes,
go for 4 to 5 hours, and you
yes.
can do this, complete the syllabus easily.
Yes. Also, another advice I would like to give the students is that you shouldn't keep the aim just to pass the exam, but to gain knowledge, because passing the exam is not enough. Like you have to apply that clinical knowledge later on in your internship and if you study well, the same questions are also going to come in your NEET PG. So it is possible, it is definitely possible to pass the exam in the last 6 months or 1 year. But if you learn something really fast, you'll also forget something really fast. And if you learn something really slow over the years, slowly and steadily, it will be retained in your mind for longer. So it is definitely better to start earlier.
So Dr. Daha, one more question, like since you started early, so before coming to India, did you complete all of your subjects, or were there anyone left?
No, I completed all of my sub. I completed my first read in the first semester of the fifth year, and ever since I think in 2023 in February we had our therapy exam in the first semester of our fifth year. So I think during that therapy exam I had completed my first read, and ever since I have just been revising and revising and revising.
And what approach did you bring in your strategy, like after coming to India in the last 6 months?
Yeah, so I mentioned about that teacher from Prep Ladder, that Sardaji. So he was my first subject that I studied, and he had an impact in a way as since he was the first teacher I ever watched. He gave us a strategy. I still remember he told us that if you ask any topper what he studied and how he studied, the main thing that he is going to say is the number of revisions that he has completed. So I remember that if you see the top 100 or top 50 students, they have at least completed the entire syllabus, revising the entire syllabus like 7 times, 8 times, 10 times. So my aim was to complete the first read as best I can, and then complete as many revisions as possible. I do not need to remember everything during every revision, but as you keep revising, you need to accumulate a little more knowledge than you had before. So if you after the first read, if you have recalled 50% of the knowledge, after the first revision you should know 55%. Then after the second revision, 60%. So I would say the most important strategy after coming to India should always be to keep revising and revising. After coming to India, you at least have 6 months. So you should plan to at least revise your subject 3 times and plan to complete the first read in the sixth year itself, in the college itself. After coming to India, you just have to practice and revise, practice and revise.
So another question, Dr. Taha, like you already got 253 scores, so I don't think that you might have any problems in your studies. Like for me myself, I got a score of 180, and I know what mistakes I did,
Okay.
and if I could have avoided that, I could have got even a good score, or maybe to 200 plus. So what do you think, in your perspective, a student should avoid some things in his or her FMG preparation that would help him or her in clearing this exam?
Okay, so basically, how do you avoid making silly mistakes in the FMG exam, right? So one of the main factors that plays while you give an exam of any competitive nature is you need to know the entire syllabus. That is the primary thing. But the second thing, which a lot of people are not prepared, is they get scared of the exam. They have cold feet, and for example, even if you know the answer, sometimes you mark the wrong answer over there. So basically, you don't have enough. The person that makes so many silly mistakes is lacking some amount of confidence, or he's scared of the consequences of that exam. So, if you want to be confident enough, the main thing is practice. As I said, I used to give practice tests on pre PG for the last 2 years. So as you keep giving tests, I gave so many tests that FMG just felt another online pre-PG test that I was giving. Slowly, it fits into your mind that it's just another test that you kept giving every day. It's not any different from all the tests you were giving. So the main aim to avoid silly mistakes, the main thing by which you can avoid silly mistakes is to practice. As you keep practicing, you won't be scared of the question if you keep practicing. Yeah.
Okay. So practicing questions, giving tests, be
Yes. Yes.
consistent, be
Consistent.
stable.
Yes.
Yeah, have a timetable, and like set a target for yourself. I think these
Yes.
are the things a student must follow, right,
Yeah,
for
in
any
fact,
exam.
I have a few juniors that keep contacting me every now and then about like how they should study. And even when I was there, a lot of people used to ask me like how to study. So I always told them the same thing. You should not like overload yourself by studying 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours in the start. Even if you are studying 2 3 hours, it is more than enough. The first aim when you have started to study should be to build the habit of studying. Once you build a habit of studying, then slowly you can keep increasing 1 hour every day, 1.5 hour every day. And also, every time I told somebody to practice MCQ, they told me that, "Oh, I haven't completed the entire syllabus right now. So when I complete the entire syllabus, then I will give the grand test or practice test or whatever." So I always keep telling them that, okay, even if you haven't completed the entire syllabus, you should start giving your test. Even if the questions you haven't studied, you go and guess the answer. Like for example, not all questions come from a particular subject. Some questions are integration of 2 3 different subjects. So even if you have studied one subject, you can go and attempt. The aim of grand test is not to score very well. It is just to keep you accustomed to the environment of the exam. So you should start giving practice tests and uh, revision before you complete the entire syllabus. All of these things should go hand in hand. It's not like you first complete the read, then complete revision, and then give grand test. Everything should go hand in hand.
Very well said, Dr. Taha. And so what would be your advice for the sixth year students who are doing MBBS right now, FMGs? How should they start, and what should be their approach? Like how many subjects should they complete before coming to India, and who are starting right now, so what should be their approach?
Okay, so if we have a 6 year student right now who hasn't started studying and is going to start studying now, again I would say that you take 1 month from now just to build a habit of studying every day. Study whatever subjects you like, whatever thing will interest you. You start with that subject and study it every day for 3 4 hours at least. Then once you build a habit, it usually takes 21 days, as everybody says. So try it for 21 days, build a habit. And once you have built a habit, then you segregate the subjects into what subject is more important for you passing the exam. Because if you are in the 6th year, the only thing in your mind is, okay, I want to pass the exam, I will accumulate knowledge when the NEET PG comes. So in 6th year, he just wants to pass the exam. So once you build a habit, you segregate the subjects into which has more weightage over other subjects. So, for example, according to the next syllabus, there were six big subjects like therapy, internal medicine, surgery, opthal, ENT, pedia, and OBGYN. So you start with those mega subjects, clinical subjects. You divide your day into two halves. Like first half, you study the high weighted subjects, and the second half you study the low weighted subjects. And at whatever time suits you, either early morning or late at night, you do your practice MCQs. So if you are in 6th year, you need to think about what will make you pass the test more, what will give you a higher percentage of passing the test. So for that, you have to segregate the subjects depending upon their weightage in the exams. So I would, yeah.
Okay. So that was about studies, Dr. Tar. Thank you very much for the strategies. Now, some questions about your journey in Russia. Like those 6 years you studied there, there was a whole change of lifestyle. So, how
Yeah.
was your journey? And do you like regret your decision, or what do you think about your decision going to Russia or abroad for studies?
Okay, so no, I don't think I particularly regret my decision of going to Russia. Like I had to do MBBS. I wanted to do MBBS, and it was not possible to do MBBS for me in a government college in India because of the NEET UG. So I had to go somewhere. So I think I made a pretty good choice coming to Crimea, to the Crimean Federal University. Other than that, how my experience was in Crimea, I would say that it was a very eye-opening experience. For example, when the person which comes to the university in the first year is not the person that leaves the university at the end of the 6 years. It teaches you a lot, not just about MBBS but also about life. You grow up a lot. You go through a lot of experiences, living alone, living with friends, taking care of yourself when nobody else is around you. For example, in my experience, I was there when nobody else was there. For example, during coronavirus, pretty much most of the university had gone to India. I had not gone to India. Then the Russia Ukraine war started again. Most of the university went to India. I was still in Crimea only. I didn't go to India. So there was a lot of eye opening moments, a lot to learn when in isolation. When you're alone, you learn a lot about how life is. I think it was a good experience overall. I would much rather have it than not have it. If I had an ability to change my decision of coming to Russia, I probably would not have. I would not have changed my decision. I would still come to Russia. I mean,
Well, the same answer for me also. Like it was a very good experience in Russia, not
yeah,
just studies, but overall development, or overall personality change, lifestyle change, and the
yes,
thinking, the decision making ability that we
exactly.
all got. Yeah, the person who never know how to cook can cook anything
Exactly.
now. So it was a very good experience. One more last question. What advice would you give to the NEET UG aspirants who are, preparing for the exam NEET UG, and those who have taken one or two drops? Should they consider, like, if they're really passionate about doing MBBS, should they consider an option to come to abroad?
Yeah, so if they are really passionate about it, then they should come abroad. But I would also want them to make an informed decision. For example, when I came to Russia, the things that we compared was like how is Indian MBBS different from Russian MBBS. So most of the things that we compared was, okay, the price, the Russian MBBS is a little bit expensive than the MBBS in government medical colleges, and okay, the Russian MBBS has a little bit less practical experience as compared to Indian medical graduates. But one thing that I think personally forgot to compare was the duration. So, for example, when I came to MBBS, when I came to do MBBS in Russia, everybody said that okay, the MBBS in India is 5.5 years and MBBS in Russia is 6 years, which is correct at its core. But they did not mention about the 2 years which it takes after completing my MBBS to finally get a permanent registration in India. So if you compare it with the MBBS in India, at the end of 5.5 years, they have a permanent registration, permanent license to work in India. For example, I will get my permanent license after nearly 2 years after FMG because it takes 6 months for consultation, 1 year for internship, and then another 6 months until your permanent registration comes. So that is the time period you should compare. So whoever wants to come to Russia, if they're really passionate about doing MBBS, I would definitely recommend them to come, but they should know about the differences between India and Russia. It's not just the money, but it is also the time duration. For example, MBBS is already a very long course. So if they are starting at 18 years of age, they need to add 8 years to it, and then imagine compare it in that sense. Because for some people, it's not easy to spend 8 years without earning anything. Yeah,
Yes, yes, truly said Dr. Ta, that a person, a student who is coming to Russia or any country abroad
yeah,
should have all the knowledge about all the things that are there, not just
yeah,
the time duration, also the money that's gonna be spent there, and also everything,
definitely,
because
yes,
so many scams are happening, in the
exactly.
name of admission. So a person should have all the knowledge regarding this. And when we went to Russia, we didn't have any online content to look upon, or
Yes, that,
search universities which is better. But now we have too much of content online on YouTube or websites and consultancies and everything. So I think a person should research first and then should go to the university.
yes, yes,
Well, Dr. Taha, it was really nice speaking to you, and you shared all of your, advices, knowledge, strategies for the students and for us. And it was really congratulations to you for such a good score, 253. And I was pretty sure about it that that one or two students from my university is gonna get that score, and you did it. So congratulations once again.
thank you very much. I also congratulate you for passing the FMGA. In
Thank
fact, in
you.
fact, our university got a really good score this time. A lot of students have
Yeah,
scored about 200. I even know three students that scored about 230, which is excellent.
yeah, yeah. It was really a good, passing percentage this time from my university.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fine though for those who didn't clear, they will clear the next time. It was
Yes,
just a
yes.
matter of one or two
Definitely.
marks.
It's not the end of the world. They can still clear it.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
it's yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Ta. Thank you for giving us your time. It was
Thank you
very
very
nice
much.
talking to you.
Same as well. Thank you.